And opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We are a certified home health care agency servicing Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. Our direct line is 954-717-7027. I am your host, Louise Gomez. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm delighted to introduce everybody. Today we have Dr. Marlene Tages Cordova, and her direct line is 954-526-6378. Her website is www.ohealthnow.com, and her email is drt@ohealthnow.com. She is right here in Pembroke Pines. The address is 600 North Hiatus Road, Suite 201, Pembroke Pines 33026. And welcome to the show, Dr. T.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super grateful to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on last minute. I know doctors are so busy. You have so much on your plate. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share a little bit more about you and your practice and what you offer to the community. And that's what we're all about, is sharing information from really great doctors like yourself. So, Dr. T, I know you are a doctor of osteopathic medicine, board certified in family medicine, and you do so much more. Let's get a little bit background history. Tell me a little bit, how did this all start? When did you realize I want to become a doctor, and where did you go to get your training?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are no doctors in my family. I'm happy to say I was the first one. And now my niece is a physician too, doing great.
Nice.
And I was trying to remember when that first moment, I just had this deep calling to be of service, to be helpful.
Nice.
And I really loved learning about the body, and I loved chemistry, anatomy, biology. I thought that the cell was fascinating, and I just followed that and I met other doctors, and I thought to myself, I had this deep feeling that how else can I be of better service than to help somebody reach a healthy life, live in a healthy way, mind, body, and soul. So then I just decided to go for it.
Nice.
And I've been doing it now 27 years.
Wonderful.
So I'm really grateful. Yes. It's very fulfilling.
Where did you go? Where did you get your training?
I went to Nova Southeastern University right here.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yes, and I went to my residency in Long Island, New York, which was wonderful because it was the first time I lived outside of Florida.
Okay, and, I saw that. Long Beach, is that right?
Long Beach, New York, my residency, family practice residency. And then I came back here to South Florida, worked for a doctor for 3 years, and opened up my own practice with partners for 17 years, had my 2 beautiful kids that are now 18 and 21.
Oh, nice.
And I opened up OHealth by Dr. T. I'm a solo practitioner with a nurse practitioner helping me see my patients because I wanted to have the holistic primary care approach. And it's very fulfilling because it's not just about treating physical symptoms.
Right.
It's also addressing mindset, emotions, experiences, nutrition, and how is someone managing the stressors of life. It's about the whole person. So that's what we practice here now. And it's just so fulfilling and so wonderful. Every day is just wonderful because it's connecting with patients.
Yes.
It's just such a beautiful, that's what tells me I really do love what I do, because every day I just love connecting with patients, listening to them, and having them be a partner in their own well-being, in their own health. So it really is a partnership.
And I think you're educating people on the whole mind, body, spirit, the
Connection.
whole connection, because it's not just, one part of our body that's maybe ill or not well. I think as I've evolved and grown and realized throughout my family history and loved ones maybe who've passed, I really have learned it's this whole synergistic connection, that so many components are interactive. And I think where we are today, more and more people are aware of this. So thank you for being that lighthouse and reminding us, right? If there's something wrong inside of us, it's going to show up, right? It's going to show up.
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you. That's what I feel like I am doing. I'm sort of reminding the patient, returning them back to themselves, and having them take ownership over their own health and well-being, and also to listen to their own gut feelings about their own health. And that's one of the things we ask them: how are you feeling? What do you feel is the best next approach? And then we incorporate that. Where do you feel these symptoms are coming from? Because most of the time, as you know, our gut feelings is always right. And
Yes.
I want them to be a part of this journey, this
Mm-hmm.
healing journey. So the conversation is really about returning them, like we said earlier, self-empowered patient. The self-empowered patient is
Right.
taught how to connect with themselves, connect with their truth.
Mm-hmm.
And again, here we know in my clinic, the World Health Organization states that 86% of all illness and disease has an emotional root cause.
Wow, that's a
And
large
that's
percentage.
a large
Yes.
percentage. And so when I was reading that back several years ago, I was like, that's it. I need to have my own clinic with my own approach, where we can approach the patient mind, body, and soul, and address those emotional components that most of the time they're not aware. It's connected to their stomach ache. It's connected to their high blood pressure. It's
Right.
connected to the insomnia, to the
Right.
chronic pain, and
Right.
to the rash. Sometimes we have an itchy hives from stress,
Yes.
and and the list goes on and on. As we just heard,
Y-
86% of all illness
Yeah.
and disease. I read that, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Let
That's
me dig deeper. I was, and I was even diagnosed with something about 3 or 4 years back, and I'll share another time about that. But it was a diagnosis that triggers fear, and that's when I realized, how about if we had a healthcare conversation, if healthcare can shift their way of delivering information to a patient and say, your body has a message for you. Let's interpret that message, and let's joyfully begin a healing process. A
I
healing.
love that approach.
Why does fear have to be so integrated into the delivery, into the treatment plan? Because that's what I noticed. And even
Yes.
I fear triggered when I was delivered the information.
Mm.
And I was like,
Yes.
is there a better way to deliver and interpret the test results, the lab results? Is there a better way? And I feel here at OHealth by Dr. T that we have developed a language that is more in alignment with healing, which is love and peace and forgiveness and acceptance and gratitude,
Mm.
because our bodies are so wise. Our bodies are
Yes.
constantly giving us information. And that self awareness that we talk a lot, I'm sure you have learned through your experiences, and I have learned to become self aware, awake, conscious of what is this? What is my mind saying? What are my thoughts? Because we know for a fact our thoughts and our emotions affect our biology. We know
That's
for a
right.
fact we have stressful thoughts and emotions, we trigger a stressful nervous system called the stress response, the stress sympathetic nervous system. When we all know that's where we set ourselves up for a stroke, a heart attack, an illness, right? That's where we can
That's right.
trigger an autoimmune condition, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just such a, that's why thank you for inviting me on your radio show. Thank you for having a platform for education, because I feel
Yes.
like reminding everyone that we have so much power in our own healing, that we can make a decision to begin healing from a place of love and not a place from fear. Because most of the time, that's where we're at, in a place of fear.
Yeah, and Dr. T, so many of us are on autopilot. We got to take the kids to school. We got to go to work. We got to do this. We got to do that. So we're on this, routine, this rat race, this wheel where we're just doing that. And so I think, like you said, just like being, maybe step back and just, being aware. And what message, I love how you said that, what message does our body want us to have? And right, not necessarily interpret it as a bad thing. It could be a blessing and say, wow, this is what slowed me down, right?
Yes, thank you, body. I'm listening. So we practice a lot of mindfulness here. Just a 1 or 2 minutes of mindfulness is enough. Patients will come in, typically a doctor's office. A patient is a little scared, a little worried. That's what I
Sure.
notice. And
Of
even
course.
I felt that way, when I'm a patient, and I often am the patient. So I really wish to just shift that and
Mhm.
create an energy of peace and safety. And so the patient feels vulnerable to share probably something they've never shared, so that the healing of the biology, the healing of the cells can begin. Because most of the time, as we learned, the cells have been affected by the memories, stressful memories, traumatic memories, or
Mhm.
just certain emotions, resentment, guilt, shame, anger. These emotions, if not released, will store and somaticize in the body and create a symptom. So
Mhm.
here in this clinic, and just in any conversation, the one we're having now, it can be a conversation that begins that self-awareness, that sharing, like you're doing. Sharing begins healing. Letting things out begins the healing process. Right? Have you noticed that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah,
And I think
releasing.
a big one for me is, how do I talk to myself? Right? Like
Yes.
that self, that little voice, that conversation that we have, right? Uh,
Am I being loving and kind and compassionate, or am I being hard on myself? Am
Right.
I criticizing myself? Thank you for bringing that up, because I often tell a patient to imagine that every cell in their body is 6-year-old them, 6-year-old you, 6-year-old me. I
Right.
imagine that every cell in my body is me as a little girl, and what would I want to hear? That I love you, I accept you just as you are, you're doing a great job, that yeah, that you're safe, that I am supporting you. We want to talk to ourselves like that. That I accept you, that you're
Mhm.
smart, that you're brave, that you're courageous, right? So I have that exercise in the room with the patient sometimes. I have them close their eyes, and in just 1 or 2 minutes, their energy can shift to that place of connection. Because actually, what's happening is life disconnects us, and we
Yes.
feel disconnected from our true selves. Have you noticed that?
Oh, yes. And thank you for being the context for creating that out there in a doctor's office, because I cannot say that there are many doctor's offices that I know that do what you're doing, because I don't believe that's taught in medical school. I'm not sure. I didn't go
Thank
to
you for
medical
saying that.
school,
It
but
wasn't who taught that. Thank you. About 15 years into my career, I had this moment in the patient exam room where all the blood work is normal, their vital signs are normal, everything I could possibly check for is normal, but yet the patient doesn't feel right.
uh-huh.
The patient doesn't feel good. And I think that's when I finally was like, I need to explore what are the other root causes to illness and disease. And that's when I started exploring how much nutrition plays a role, how much inflammation in the body plays a role. That because
Mhm.
all the blood work can be normal, but you can have chronic inflammation.
Right.
All the blood work can be normal, but you're eating junk food and processed food, or you're not sleeping enough. All the self care,
Mhm.
elements are required to really feel good in your body, to feel connected. that's when I learned about meditation and breathing practices, right? Let's talk about that.
Yes. We'll be right back. We're going to have a quick commercial break. We're going to talk about breath work and meditation.
Awesome. Thank
All
you.
right. We'll be right back. Quick commercial break, everybody.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027, or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to You and Your Doctor. I am having a delightful conversation today with Dr. Marlene Tages Cordova, and her phone number is 954-526-6378. Her website is www.ohealthnow.com. You can email her at drt@ohealthnow.com, and she's right here in Pembroke Pines. The address is 600 North Hiatus Road, Suite 201, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33026. You can also find her on Instagram, OHealth by Dr. T, and you can reach out to her on Instagram as well. Thank you so much for coming back. So we were discussing the benefits of meditation. I will say, I think it was 8 years ago, I said, I need to do something. I don't know how to, I got to figure something out. So I did I went to learn transcendental meditation. It's just like a 20-minute meditation every day. And it's changed my life. A game changer for me.
Good for you. Congratulations. I think that is like the best medication. I
Yes.
also found meditation. They don't teach meditation in medical school yet. I hope that changes. But I did also learn it because I felt the same way. I need to figure out a way to help myself. And it's very empowering to be able to have that tool of
Yes.
meditation and mindfulness, being in the present moment, right?
Yes.
That also is the antidote to anxiety.
Mhm.
Anxiety is one of the most common diagnoses here in my clinic, for sure. Anxiety leads to a lot of physical symptoms and can trigger a lot of physical conditions, physical diseases and ailments. So mindfulness meditations are a great way to begin too. For all those out there that want to know how to begin, I would say practice mindfulness meditations where you are engaging all your five senses. I think that's the easiest way to begin, where you can just begin to notice what's around you, what you see, what you hear, what you're smelling, what you're tasting, what you can touch. You know, when you engage the five senses, the neuroscientists have said, well, it's impossible to think about anything else. If you're
Right.
connected to your five senses, you literally can't worry about what you were worrying about.
That's
So
right.
that's a really quick way for a beginner out there and to snap out of that, automatic negative thinking, like you were saying, automatic thinking,
Mm-hmm.
automatic behavior, and autopilot.
Yes.
How do we begin to snap ourselves out of that or shift ourselves out of that. I think meditation, breath work, mindfulness techniques like engaging the five senses is one of the quickest ways I've helped a patient sort of come into the present moment in the room with me, so that we can really begin that connection, that healing process, and also to bring that patient back to themselves, because that's
Right.
really all the body's probably just trying to get your attention. Hey, pay attention to me, listen to
Right?
me, love me, treat me right. Body's like, treat me right, drink water, eat healthy, stop thinking so negatively, right? It's just trying to get our
Yes.
attention. And so it winds up being kind of fun and joyful sometimes, once we get to that place, and we remove that, like, I think there's an idea that you got to go out to a mountain, to a retreat, and be in nature. That's the only place that you can meditate. That's not true. You can meditate anytime,
Yes.
anywhere, right?
Yes.
Anytime, anywhere that you decide to.
I also
Yeah,
I also think breath work is underrated. People just
thank
can you
you.
explain
Yes,
to us the benefit? What are the
yes.
physical and physiological benefits of breath work? Because it's
I have a diagram out here. Here in my clinic, if my assistant wants to give it to you, there's a vagus nerve photo of the vagus nerve. I
okay.
don't know if anyone's out there. So we do the belly breathing, the yoga belly breath here in the clinic, where you expand your belly and your diaphragm outward in your inhalation, and you hold it. You also super inhale. You super inhale, and then you hold it. We hold it for about 3 seconds, and then I slowly have the patient exhale for about a count of 8. As long as the exhalation is longer than the inhalation, now you're strengthening the vagus nerve. And the vagus
Okay.
nerve, everybody, runs your parasympathetic nervous system, which I call peace mode. So we want to go from stress mode to peace mode. Stress mode is the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. That's when we're stressed out,
Yeah.
we're doing many things at once, and
Yeah.
we're also disconnected.
Yeah.
And the biology and physiology, when it's in stress mode, it can't heal, it can't digest, it can't repair, and you're not connected to your inner wisdom either.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us are just stuck in that, or at least just
Yes,
easily
we
go
are.
back to that. So it's
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's like making the conscious effort of saying, okay, I'm going to do my breath work today to get out of that into the
Yes. Yes, it's a breathing practice. I'm trying to eliminate even though everyone uses breath work, and I do say breath work, if I could invite everyone to imagine our breath is a gift. And so if we can
yes.
imagine that we get to like appreciate our breath in those moments, and we're doing a practice, a breathing practice, which I call a breathing meditation. So there you go.
I
Check it
like
off.
that.
You're meditated, you know?
Yes.
So in the clinic, in about a minute to 2 minutes, we can shift from that stressful nervous system to the peaceful nervous system, where all healing, restoration, and renewal is triggered. We trigger
Mm.
self-healing mechanisms. And they're doing studies now where we're boosting the immune system. We're
Yes.
boosting certain immune system markers are boosted by 50%, 60% sometimes, when we just take ourselves from that place of stress to the place of peace. And we can do it literally in a few minutes using our diaphragmatic vagus nerve belly breathing. And on my YouTube, which is my YouTube has some audios. Again, the YouTube is also, it's called OHealth by Dr. T as well. So if anyone
Okay.
wants
I'll,
to go to
I'll,
YouTube, starting to put audios guiding the breathing practice, so that you can listen, because repetition, repetition, repetition,
yes.
right? It
Yes,
eventually
absolutely.
becomes part of your way of life. And you're like, how did I ever live without it, right? How did
Yes.
I ever live without meditation, Louise?
I
Right?
agree 100%, Dr. T. But
Yeah.
sometimes it takes us to kind of hit rock bottom to pivot,
The
to
pivot.
to
Yes, I love
pivot
that.
and to make a change. So we have like a minute and a half left, Dr. T. This interview has gone so fast. It's
Yes.
been so fascinating. So in the next minute and a half, what would you recommend to people who are listening, who are saying, I need to make a change in my life? What do you want to recommend to them?
I would ask that all of you, every single morning, as soon as you wake up, You walk over to your bathroom mirror, you look yourself straight in the eye, put your hand over your heart, and say, I love you, I accept you, I respect you, and I trust you, and I'm here for you. Let's do this. Let's have a great day.
I love that so much. That was amazing. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. We will definitely have you on again for another conversation. So I will give your number out again last minute. Anybody who's listening, please call Dr. T. Her number is 954-526-6378. It was such a pleasure. Take care, Dr. T. Bye.